What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode and another week of the What the Puck podcast. I'm Nick, and that's Gunk. And Gunk, we have some front office news that's been happening around the NHL. Some moves have been happening around a couple teams that have some vacancies,
Yes,
and
vacancy and one fulfilled, which I'm very
and one
happy about, and we'll
fulfilled.
get to it in a minute.
We talked about who you probably would have wanted as head coach last week,
Yes.
and honestly, it's come to fruition
It's come.
as to what you wanted, and Sheldon Keefe is the head coach of the Devils now. How do you feel?
Young Sheldon Keefe is in the building. Hey, maybe that chick was right on what I was telling about the Facebook last week. Maybe she was right. Maybe he was in the building. Who knows? But any which way, the Sheldon Keefe hire again. I went back and I looked at the stats. I mean, for what this team is right now, they need to get in the playoffs, and I feel like this coach can at least lead them into the playoffs. He has had big success with big stars, like I said, like a Matthews. He's developed a Matthews, Tavares kind of came over from the Islanders, so he's kind of there, but a Marner, the big, oh my god, I forgot his name. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, Nylander.
Nylander, yeah, that beautiful blonde gentleman with the young Hughes brothers. But again, he really molded them into really special players. And if he can develop even like I said like a Jack or a Nico, and Nico already is while he was over at the Worlds already talking about how he loves this move and think this is a step in the right direction. And when the captains got the coaches back, you can only hope for good things. So
Honestly, I agree with you because with the record that Sheldon Keefe has had throughout head coaching in all the different leagues that he's had, even throughout the AHL, and I believe he coached with the Sioux Greyhounds when Dubas was the GM there,
okay.
and yeah, he's had noted success throughout all of his seasons as a head coach everywhere. So honestly,
Yeah.
this is a good move. I feel like the Devils have a group that's going to be more receptive to what Keefe has to say compared to what the group had in Toronto for him. Because after a certain point, the group in Toronto just it feels like they kind of gave up on trying to deal with him. Not even so much deal with him, just try to listen to him and try to work with him because
Right.
it seems like it probably just felt like they were listening to the same things over and over again and nothing was probably getting done. But
Right.
also after a while the onus has to be on the players because you gotta listen. You got the coach can't do everything for you guys.
Right.
We say it all the time. The coach doesn't play. You can't rely on the coach to get you
No.
guys wins all the time. You got to go out and you got to go out and do it. Like he can only get you guys so far.
Right. And again, and what again, a lot of stuff from the last couple weeks since he's been fired to now he's being hired by the Devils is one of the things is I feel like, and I don't know, maybe again being from this area, the Toronto media really, I feel like kind of with the first round exits for the last couple years. I mean, he made it to the second round last year. But a lot of the first round exits, they're blaming him for in the media. They're not blaming the players because again, those players are like not.
You should blame the players. They
They
can't
should be,
score.
but a lot of the, like I said, a lot of like when you listen to like TikTok, like fans of the Maple Leafs on TikTok, a lot of the beat writers for Toronto were really crapping on Keith. Especially this last year. They were really shitting on him, and I feel like maybe that was one of the things, because Toronto is kind of like in New York, you know what I mean? If you don't have the fans backing there, they will get rid of you, and and I feel like Toronto maybe jumped the gun a little bit, and I'm very happy that they did because I feel like this coach is going to be not perfect, but it's going to be really good
I
to
agree with
fit
you,
in
but
with
I
this
don't
team.
feel like Toronto jumped the gun on firing him. I honestly feel like if any time was to do it, it was probably not this season, but last.
Okay.
With a lot of the stuff that was going on because of how bad you lost in the second round.
Right. Well, I feel like also he got that extended, again, it's kind of weird how like everything's kind of linking up because he made it to the second round last year and got that extension, kind of like how Lindy Ruff did with the Devils last year. I mean, brought a team out of nowhere. I mean, Toronto's not nowhere, but they brought him out of what their funk was in the first round, got him to the second round. I said Lindy did the same thing for the Devils last year. Bad team, getting good, exploded last year, made it to the second round. He got the extension, and you see, kind of both teams kind of fell back. Toronto not as much because they did make the playoffs, but the Devils, of course, fell, you know, hard times. So, you know, this might be a little link up where it's like coming together. He is still relatively a young coach. He can adapt to he adapts to the fast style, and I think who's really going to benefit. And I've read this a few times from a lot of Devils beat writers. Is I feel if Dougie comes back next year and has is injury free and is playing the way he plays, I feel like the Sheldon Keefe um way to play hockey will really benefit Dougie Hamilton next year. And hopefully, like I said, with an addition to Dougie coming back on that defense, will help out that defense immensely how young they are. So fingers crossed that this is going to be a great move for the Devils. Again, you always have, being a Devils fan, you always have that like in the back of your throat, like I don't know, but for right now, I like the hire. I don't. Again, Woodcroft, I was kind of out on
Yeah,
that. The Berube thing was kind of, you kind of knew where he was going
that's not the
once.
coach you needed for the
Yeah,
Devils,
that's
though.
not.
That's not who you should be looking for.
No, I think the way he coaches, he's got a little rough. He's a little rough around the edges. He's a tough coach, and I think this is what this team needs: is somebody that's young enough, plays fast, but can also bring that toughness to the locker room when they need a kick in the ass. So that's how I feel. Because again, I feel like Nico's not like a big vocal person, so I feel like a Keith would come in and kind of balance out the vocalization of the team, if you want to put it that way. You know what I mean? Like,
I
you know,
agree with you because you'd been saying for a while that Nico doesn't really have that loud of a voice a lot of the time.
right?
So
Like, don't get me
honestly,
wrong. Yeah, he has the respect of the players. I mean,
well, yes, of
everyone
course.
on that team respects the shit out of Nico Heischer, but he's not a big, will be out there in front of the media, giving bulletin board material. He's very low key. He's very, So again, like I said, with the key, I feel like he's more expressive. Yin yang balance. I feel like I said between those two, it's gonna be a great fit, and hopefully the players will jump on that lead and just go. I mean, the couple of players they did talk to, since the hiring, they really like this, and like I said, Nico was one of them at the Worlds. I think they talked to Mercer at Worlds too. I know they talked to Lazar because he was still around here. I think he was doing a special at Stop and Shop, which was where I work, not at mine, but at a Stop and Shop. He was doing like a social media video and stuff for actually I think it was for Memorial Day because today is Memorial Day. We want to God bless all the troops out there, and we remember everyone that died in all the wars and stuff like that, and we love the USA. God bless. But like I said, yeah, it was Sunday. He was filming a video for like a veteran buying them groceries and stuff, and he was asked about it. And he really likes the move, and he feels like this coach is going to be perfect fit for this Devils teams. And again, I feel like again, Kurz Lazar is one of those guys that again bottom six guy, but will always be there and will always fight for this team, and that's the kind of guy I like on my team. And hopefully, I don't know how long his contract is, but hopefully we can keep Kurz Lazar. I fell in love with him since we traded for him.
I agree. He's a very solid player. He's a very solid depth guy. He can play quality minutes if you need to.
Absolutely.
And
Which he actually showed this year with all the injuries. I mean, he played.
true.
He was playing a lot of first second line. When Jack and Nico were out. During that time. So, you know, I mean, like I said, he was a first round pick for a reason. So,
That's
I mean,
true.
his career is not going to be the greatest of all time, but if it doesn't. There's no disrespect for somebody that comes and does his job every day and does it as hard as possible and loves where he is and stuff like that.
Oh,
So
I absolutely
those are
agree.
the kind of you understand. Those are the kind of players you gravitate to, man. Shit.
Yeah, man, I'm starting to gravitate towards a couple players
Okay.
because we can get into this first.
Sure.
Some way, somehow, the New York Rangers are up 2-1 in the Eastern Conference Final.
Ah.
Uh,
Nervous? Shakes?
Yesterday
How's
I
the level?
was because
Are we at like kind of a shaky level, or are we kind of at like a oh my god I'm drunk shaky level?
I'm all right. I'm
Okay.
okay. Um,
Dude, that sounded really confident, by the way. I'm okay.
I'm
Yeah,
okay.
excited. Okay.
It Yesterday was a robbery of a game.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Looking at I have moneypuck.com up right now,
Okay.
and they have this cute little thing called the deserve to win-o-meter.
Oh, I've
It
seen that.
runs
Yes.
through 1,000 game
Yes.
simulations,
Mm-hmm. I
and
have seen that. Yeah.
the Rangers on this after 1,000 games won 18% of the time.
But that's all you need.
That's all you
And
need.
this is real life. And I again, you every time you like even I watch highlights, you just watch that team and I hate it because I'm a Devils fan and I hate it. But the team that Rangers team is scary, dangerous. I mean, they can score with their top line, second line. You know, Barkley
Barclay
Goodrow
Goodrow.
scored the game winner in game two. I don't know how many times. How many times have we said, "Oh my God, Barkley Goodrow"? We've said on this podcast, and
the,
he
amount,
scores.
the amount of times
Dude,
I want to say buy out Barclay Goodrow.
yeah, exactly.
But like
Well, I was waiting for this like to turn really bad, and everyone shitting on the Lafreniere like own goal, basically. So I was waiting for
that
that
was
one.
rough. Game one was
Yes,
bad. Game one was
but
really bad. The Rangers were not prepared for Florida at all. I don't think
no.
they expected to see what Florida's playoff game was like.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it just caught them off guard. They weren't ready. They were sloppy. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not sure if it was because they had a long time off again and Florida just came out rolling.
Could have been.
I don't know what it was, but it was rough to start,
Yes, it
and
was.
game 2 it was a it's been all close games, and
Ooh,
that's like
it's
even yesterday, high scoring but
yep.
close again.
Love it.
It's
This so far this series has been so great because you've gotten goaltending. You've gotten like I said, Bobrovsky was fantastic in
fantastic.
game one. Huh?
He was perfect.
He was perfect in
It's
game one.
insane.
I mean, Igor was fantastic in game two. I mean,
He was
and then like I said,
fantastic yesterday again. He won that game for this team.
he won that game. But I'm saying he's out of his mind right now. And again, it hurts me to say it, but he's tops in right now. He's the top guy, and he's rolling with it. And hopefully for you guys over there, he keeps it going. But he's looking like, you know,
He's
this is
he's the
because
real deal.
I remember text you after game two and was like, all right, this is gonna be a really good series. I was worried about it when it went to overtime, and then I saw the Rangers won, and I was like, all right, we got a series. All right, let's go. Because I have
If the
feelings
Rangers
tomorrow.
lost, if the Rangers lost game 2, this series is done in 5.
It's done in five. Absolutely. And I've been saying it since that game one loss. I was like, they have to. Game two is a must win.
Oh, I
And
said
they
game.
came.
I after game 1, I said the series was done in 4.
Oh, well, I
And even
wasn't
then,
that
with
far.
game 2, even after overtime, I wasn't. I was impressed, but I was still like, we're going back to Florida now. Like you gotta show up,
Yeah, and like I said, they showed up and
and showed
showed
up.
out.
They
Like I
did.
said, they showed up. Like I said, showed up and showed out. They fantastic. I mean, again, you can get these if we can get the rest of these games like this like I said, this is gonna be a classic series. And it already
Absolutely.
through 3 games, it's already a really good series.
And we
Let
always keep
let
talking
it get.
about Loft to the AHL, and then he comes back.
He comes back, baby. Oh,
But there's one
but
person that I feel we need to talk about.
okay.
This guy.
Holy shit.
I want him off of this fucking team.
Oh, come on.
I can't fucking stand him.
Come on.
Truba needs to go. I'm so tired of this. He's not good. He's old. He's a liability. I'm not sure how many times he needs to take a penalty in a game to feel satisfied. Like, is he trying to meet a fucking quota?
Yeah, he's got a maybe he's got a son in his contract. Penalty minutes.
Buy him
Playoff
out of his
penalty minutes.
contract. Fuck his contract bonuses. Buy him out.
Buy him out. Look,
Buy him
and here we
out.
go. You hear that now, folks? Nick had said just buy him out, so he's scoring the overtime winner in Game 4. So that's coming. And if it does happen, I am texting you within like 2 seconds. Like, see, you fucking son of a bitch. Keep saying these guys suck.
He does. I'll keep saying it. Even if he does score, he sucks.
He's not as bad. He's not as bad as that fucking tall ass goof with the 73 on his jersey. Oh my god.
He's been good. What do you mean, huh? What do you
You know what it is? Because I'm not watching the games I'm just watching highlights of the games, and all I saw was
Because there's no Curtis McDermott.
there's no Curtis McDermott.
There's no McDermott.
Devils fans love that though. Now Curtis McDermott will be one of those like devil forever guys.
Ingrained for life because Curtis McDermott.
Because he fucking took out the big Ranger guy. I still get pictures of Scott Niedermayer kicking the Ranger jersey. If that was like what 50 years ago already, come on now.
I mean,
But anyway, yeah, he had that he was not all alone, but he was going into the corner and just busted his ass. I was like,
stop. The Garden Ice is slippery.
He saw that puck all by himself, and he just fucking fumbled on himself. This guy stinks.
He's young. Let him go.
He stinks.
Anybody else makes that play.
Everyone else.
Except for Truba. The crux of the issue, Truba sucks.
And apparently Curtis McDermott won't make that play either.
Well. But
That's okay.
But like you said, a lot of guys up and down the lineup are stepping up every game now. You're seeing it with Gaudreau. I said a couple weeks ago, Lindgren has not been the best. Had 2 points. Roslovic got a point, which after getting bumped down to the third line, is nice to see them get going because Roslovic, Wenberg, all of them were that entire line. Anybody that was there was just not getting anything going. Wenberg got the OT winner yesterday, so that was amazing to see him finally get one. He was so due. The amount of times I was saying somebody on this line needs to get one. Like, they are all so ready to get one.
And just hearing interviews with him, he just seems like a good guy. He deserved that goal. I mean, God, good for him. They said he got out of Seattle. He's on a chance to win a Stanley Cup. Good for him. Good.
Absolutely. And
good for him.
We need to talk about with game 2 between these two teams. Capo Caco got scratched in game 2.
Yeah,
and
do we think the project is over?
I would, as of right now, it has to stay on because VZ got hurt.
Oh, okay. So,
but I want Blake Wheeler so bad.
Oh well, yeah.
He's so close to being ready.
Dude, this team is loaded. I totally forgot about poor Blake Wheeler at the
Blake Wheeler got hurt in November.
He got hurt.
He got hurt. No, he got hurt like February, and then just.
Yeah, he was playing so well with you guys too. I was very impressed because he was one of those I wanted because he was a good solid bottom 6 guy for
bottom 6 guy that we slotted into the not a thing to do first line.
Yeah, and then you see how he works. It was working, but yes, I totally Blake Wheeler any day over poor KK.
Yeah, he's just not. I see a lot of people, and I was hooting and hollering about it the other day. A lot of people were trying to say, oh, compared to the Finnish schedule, that's 60 games. Compared to the NHL, he got drafted in 2019. It's been 5 years. You've played full seasons before. I understand COVID fucked you up a little bit. We're well past that.
No, yeah.
You've played full seasons. Sure, you've gotten hurt. You've played enough time.
No, absolutely.
You've played in the playoffs. You've played for a lot of different people.
Yep.
It's not an excuse of, 82 games is too long of a schedule that he's not used to. Get used to it. Loff is used to it.
No. Exactly. No. I don't want to hear the COVID excuse no more with him.
Mm-mm.
He's a good player. You can't. He has skills. He does.
Which,
I've seen him a couple of times. He's scored some tremendous goals. He needs a new scene. He needs a new scenery. He needs a new town, new team, new town. He's
yeah.
almost he's almost like almost like with the Devils, like with the Alexander Holtz thing. It's like maybe we just need to get this kid out of town, get him to a new environment, let him maybe grow a little bit. You know, maybe this is maybe New York is just not for him. Maybe send him somewhere a little slower.
So,
I don't know. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, as
not
we
such a
all
big
know,
muscle.
our lovely boy KK went second overall in the 2019 draft.
Yep.
The Devils
Hey,
picked first that year.
wait. Do you remember? Like, I remember the cheering. That was awesome. Remember the cheering? Oh, all the Rangers fans in the Garden cheering when. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're
Who was
good.
drafted first? I forgot.
Jack Hughes.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, I will. I'm
Mister.
I'm full on saying that he's better. There's no denying it.
There's not even. There's not even.
But
That's not even an
funny,
argument.
funny little hypothetical here. What would you be saying right now if Kako was picked first, and this
Whoa.
is what you got, and the Rangers had Jack Hughes?
First of all, that's not even freaking fair. Well, you know what? You know what though? I'd probably be more excited for the NHL draft this year. I'm sure we would have gotten a higher pick this year instead
That's
of 10.
true. That's true.
Yeah, that would have been the one of the biggest. That would have been like drafting Ryan Leaf over Peyton Manning. I mean, that's the only comparison I can think of. That's basically what it is. Uh, yeah. Thank God they had the brain to that Ray Shero came up was like, yeah, we're taking Hughes. Okay.
Yeah, that's
No, there was no question about it. But again, it's hard to say because you never know because of different systems, different players. I mean, could he have thrived in New Jersey? Again,
no.
New Jersey,
Nobody
New
can
Jersey.
thrive in New Jersey.
Well, no, I'm just saying like our Devils media coverage is not as big as like the Rangers coverage, stuff like that. He wouldn't be under the pressure as much
I can
as he
get
would be in
that
New York.
because I feel like there is a lot of pressure on him do to do really good, but also that should be expected because you're a second overall pick and for a while you were potentially the first.
Yeah. Well, I think and it hurts him in the long run too is the person he got drafted. The person that got drafted before him, Jack Hughes, is on a team literally 4 miles away from him. So he's never, ever, ever going to get away from that comparison that when the Devils and Rangers went 1-2, that was the order, and this is who they picked. And for like I said, he's going to fall into that bubble of Jack Hughes is a superstar, and you're 4 miles away from him, being compared to him on every level, which you're not the same player as him. You're not even close to being the same player as him.
No.
Which is why I feel like the Rangers, once the off season comes, should look to make a trade for him. I mean, don't give him up for peanuts, but maybe you could bring back a quality NHL player
I'd
for
be
him.
fine with like a first round pick and a different guy.
Yeah. I
Like
mean,
get a
something
first
like
round pick
that.
from somebody this year.
Yeah, but I feel like this kid just needs to get away from New York, and not even just because the Rangers are a bad franchise, because they're as much as I crap on the Rangers, they're a terrific franchise. You can't. They're one of the original sixes. They're iconic.
Mm.
So you gotta give them their due. And he said I feel like the kid just needs to move from that team, and then maybe he can pick up a spark. I mean, players have done it before. I mean, you've seen high draft picks, really bust out with their original draft team and go to another team and hit it, not hit it big, but they hit, they become a high goal scorer, they become a better defenseman, they become a better goalie. It's happened before. So I feel like these guys should just give him the release, not even the release, just the trade he needs, let him go somewhere else, and see what happens.
I agree.
You know,
Hopefully you can find the package for him because it could be rough to find somebody that may want to take on something like that, but you could find a team that's in the process of rebuilding that needs that kind of a young star.
yes.
And maybe you just
You
send
know,
him out to fucking Utah.
I was gonna say, hey, Utah. I was even thinking like a Utah, maybe an Ottawa, maybe one of those like even like a Chicago, he would be a fit in with Bedard, he fit in with that I mean just thoughts,
Yeah, I
I'm thinking more. I'm thinking more with like teams that are not in like a big area. I mean, Chicago's a big town, of course, but somewhere where it's like a mid-range kind of town. The media coverage is not going to be crazy. You're going to get away from the comparisons to Jack Hughes, and then you could just go out there, be comfortable, find a nice place to live. In the mountains somewhere, wherever whatever he's into. Go find that out there. Maybe you'll thrive. I said. I mean, see, I said when I was hearing the rumors during the trade deadline, I was thinking that would have been perfect for everyone, for him to go to another team, for you guys to pick up something as you are now making your run now. So
it's
right now it's gonna be kind of tough because you're scratching him from the playoffs. You're not playing him as much, so he's not showcasing like he should be. And you when the off season comes, he's not going to be as high as capital as you're going to get back for him.
which honestly is fine because even if the desired outcome that I have is what it is, I'm fine with losing him if that's what we lose. Like it is what it
Exactly.
is.
Yeah, it's one of those comparisons. I mean, every Rangers fan, 99.99999 would say, "Oh, would you want to win a cup or you want to keep Chicago?" I mean,
Yeah,
it's not even like, yeah. I mean, it's not even a comparison. Win the cup and lose him in the offseason, or don't win a cup and keep him.
bye.
I don't think you're
Uh,
taking that option for
yeah,
shit.
never.
So
But we go from one close series to the other side of the country and another close series
yes,
tied up at one. Dallas and Edmonton has been a it's been a series.
yeah, for what I've been again highlights. It's been more. It's been like a. I know I don't know if it's weird to say, but it's basically just been like a Western Conference like playoff series. Like
Yeah,
it's
it's
1-1. Seems like every series this season in the West was like 1-1, going to the next town. Boom, let's see what happens.
yeah, it
It's
does it never seemed like there was a team that truly felt like a step ahead of everybody else
yeah,
throughout the entire playoffs. But honestly, I feel like that's a good thing for the West because
right.
it makes it a little bit more entertaining. I like the even series like that.
Yes,
Like if a team's just winning series and blowouts all the time, it starts to get kind of like yes, it's exciting if it's the team you're cheering for,
of
but if
course,
you're
yeah,
a fan and you just have to watch a team win like steamroll four straight games against the team,
yeah. It's
it gets
I
really
mean
boring really
it,
fast, especially if
it
it
really
happens all the time.
and especially like when you get this far into the playoffs where you're getting more eyeballs on the sport and you really
Exactly,
don't
because
you don't want that.
there's less and less space for other people to take up. So now now it's you're the only game on every other
Right.
night if you're playing
Every
for.
other night.
So you're trying to make sure that you're seen all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I mean, with the teams in the West, you got some pretty big markets, some pretty big eyes around the NHL still with Dallas and Edmonton. I mean,
Yeah,
Dallas
absolutely.
is one of the top teams still. A lot of people were calling their run back in the bubble a fluke because it just seemed like with a lot of the overtime losses that they had and relying on the loser point and
Right.
everything,
Lose a
it
point.
seemed a little cheap. But now they seem like the real deal. I mean, Edmonton got the best of them in game 1, but that was double overtime. I mean, and not even deep into double overtime. I mean, it was like 30, 40 seconds in,
30.
so
Yeah,
it
it was
wasn't
30.
even
I think
that
it was
long.
34. Yeah.
So it was honestly like so you played a close game and then you came out on Saturday and you played the game that you needed to be able to keep the series even at home because as they were talking about with the Rangers and Panthers on during game two. Losing game two at home like that is impossible to try to come back from. I think they said only like one team has ever done it. So
Right.
to to be able to have the resiliency to come back and make sure you win game two at home, to go back
Yeah.
to Edmonton tonight and
Yes. Absolutely.
be able to play a good game, a good solid game.
Yeah. See, that's the difference between these two series. This
Series
series.
is
Series. This is. Okay. Anyway, that's the difference between these two playoffs. The Rangers one, I feel like they needed to win that game. They needed to win game
mm,
two. Where I feel like if they did go down 2-0, I feel like Edmonton's not this like. I mean, yes, they're a powerhouse with McDavid and Draisaitl, but it's not like they're this like overbearing team
yeah.
that you
I just
can't
feel
come
like
back from.
Edmonton. I feel like if Edmonton went down 2-0 like that, they wouldn't be able to come back from it. I feel like they'd get too frustrated too in their heads because
Right.
they have players that are flashy a lot of the time, so they're going to try to like do extra to
Right.
try to make it work, and it's just going to become even worse. So
Mhm.
if they were to go down 2-0, they would struggle, but honestly, if it was Dallas, I feel like they'd
Uh,
be able to make it work.
yeah. No.
Dallas
Absolutely.
just has Dallas is like the Rangers where they just have that deep team. They're
Yeah.
really solid all the way through,
Hmm.
and they got a goalie that's standing on their head right now. Otter has
Yeah.
been one of the best goalies so far, and he's always been one of the main concerns for this Dallas team. I mean, honestly, the past couple of years, a lot of the reasons why Dallas didn't make it that far was because of him, was because of the goals that he let up.
Yeah.
He's he took onus on himself for that and is really trying to make something of everything that he's given, and he has a fantastic team in front of him now. He's
Yeah.
got
Absolutely.
fantastic defense, and
Yep.
this team is really shaping up to be scary heading through. You got
Hmm.
to make a statement in Edmonton in game 3
Yep.
to really show this is what we want. This is the real deal. We're gonna make this work.
Yep.
And I
Absolutely.
think they can. You just got to come out flying. You got to catch Edmonton off guard on their heels, and you just got to roll. You got, like every game, you got to have a fast start, and you got to rock with
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely, yeah. Especially like I said, when you're on the road, you gotta start out hot. You gotta if you get it said if you're down 1-2 nothing within half the period, it's gonna be a struggle for them. But if they come out fast and they get up a goal, it changes the momentum of the whole side just goes to the Dallas side. But that's why I love this series. Like I said, it's a different feeling of a series than the Rangers and Panthers. Rangers and Panthers feel like more like a fight. Like it's like they're duking it out. Where the Dallas and Edmonton is kind of like it's kind of like the mid card. It's kind of like
Hmm.
we're here, we're still doing stuff here, but we're getting ready for the heavyweight fight of whoever comes out of the heavyweight bout. You know what I mean? So it's like
I do.
any which way, and it's going to be great because any which way this turns out in any of the four scenarios, it's going to be a fantastic final, which I'm so looking forward to.
I'm looking forward to it too. But before we wrap it up here this week for you guys, we I had mentioned moneypuck.com before with all their stats and everything. They have playoff odds through the rest of the playoffs. All four teams right now on this lovely game assignment that they have here
Oh
are
boy, are they?
are
Oh,
it
oh,
the
oh,
sections
I
are
love
all
my.
colored and it's blue, orange, green, and yellow, so it looks like a game assignment.
Oh no, it's one of those. It was one of those fun NHL Anarchy games. I love those.
Oh
I love watching the
shit.
videos of those. The NHL Anarchy games rule where they like spin the little wheel and like, all right, this team's gonna take over this team. Yeah, I fall right into that stupid trap of that goddamn NHL hierarchy shit. But anyway, I'm sorry. Yes, but continue.
Uh, so as we all know, because we're in the third round, each team is at 100. Right now, to make the finals, I'll start at the lowest odds with the Florida Panthers at 32.9%.
Ooh, that's surprising. I'm very surprised by that because Florida made it to the finals last year. They know how to win, and at this point, everyone knows how to win in the playoffs. So
I agree.
but
But
but again, they had the big run last year. I feel like they should be a little higher, maybe above Edmonton. I think right now.
in third with 42.9%, the Dallas Stars.
Mm. See again. All right. I'll give you my list of when you're done. Go for it.
At 57.1, the Edmonton Oilers.
And of course,
At
number one,
67.1, the New York Rangers.
because it's always a New York bias.
So, where the way it's looking right now is a Rangers Oilers Cup final.
Which again, fantastic.
That would be a very good, that would be another fight.
And I know and I know at least one person that will show his face for 80 million times.
Gretzky. It's Gretzky.
Oh well, no, I was
it's
thinking more
way.
Mess.
Oh.
Mess. You know, Mess is gonna be all over this damn series.
True.
Oh.
I mean, he's been everywhere already. So.
I mean, Gretz has been with way a lot more teams, you know. But you know, I mean, when I think of Gretzky, I really never think Rangers. I always think Kings.
That's fair.
Or Oilers. You know, Messier is always. I know he was an Oiler. He'll always be a Ranger. Unfortunately, He will always be the captain of the Rangers. And he's got, again, I mean, not to that level, but again, he's always like my Scott Stevens. It doesn't matter who the captain is. When you say the captain, mine will always be Scott Stevens. For Rangers fans, it will always be the Mess.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that's what I'm thinking. So if you come down to that, Messier will be everywhere doing interviews, doing this, doing that. Because this will be the Messier final.
It absolutely will be. And with that, if you do make it to the Cup final, your chances to win the Cups are 16.9 for Florida, 18.9 for Dallas, 31.3 for Edmonton, and a solid 33 for the Rangers.
Not bad. I mean,
Not
again,
bad.
Kind of split down the middle. I said right now I got, of course, the Rangers are one because I feel like again they just have like they're just teams just scary sometimes. Like, yeah, sometimes they don't play up to their potential, but they just every time I see their lineup, they just scare the shit out of me.
The Rangers don't always play up to their potential, but know how to catch a team that is playing down to them when they're not playing at their potential, and I feel like that's what makes them scary. They're easy to. They're so willing to catch you when you're not paying attention for 1 second. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened yesterday with the shorthanded goal for Goodrow. They
out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere, Trocheck just drifted around the boards with the puck, and just Goodrow caught them all sleeping, and just ripped it.
And Trocheck signing underrated.
Underrated. Honestly, if the Rangers can do it, him or Igor for the con.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah. When I heard he signed, what was it? It was last year, right? Last offseason?
Yeah.
When he signed that, I was like, oh, okay, he's all right. I mean, he's a good player. Man, he's become like the heart and soul of this goddamn team.
He's battling all his demons to get to the Cup final. He had to play Carolina, and now he's playing Florida.
Florida now, yeah, absolutely. Oh, but yeah, like I said, my thoughts of, like I said, if anything, I said I would go the Rangers 1. I would put Dallas at 2, Florida 3, Edmonton 4.
Okay.
Just because Edmonton is just a younger team, a little younger. Dallas again. Every time I see the Cup final, I see Rangers Dallas. I see New York Dallas. I see who's got the finals? ESPN or
ESPN.
Either which way. Oh, by the way, does ESPN have some of the games this for the finals? Because again, I'm watching highlights really.
ESPN has the Eastern Conference Final. TNT has the West.
The West. Okay. Now, of course, you're watching all the games. Apparently, they have this like stat line and bar on the side. Or is that like a special like a special viewing?
I've never seen anything like that. I see people talking all the time and complaining about how they see all this stuff on their screens, and I never see any of that stuff.
Well, you know what?
I'm not sure if it's it may be an ESPN Plus thing. They're watching on ESPN Plus, but even then, if I have ever watched a game on ESPN Plus in the past, I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, because every time I see the highlights of games, I've never seen this stat bar. But then I've seen so many TikToks pop up with like, oh my god, this is what they're doing. I don't care. And basically it was like against the sports betting thing. It was like, I don't need to know how long this person is on the ice for. Just to win like an over under bet it's one of those things
Oh,
that
for
people are
something
complaining
like that,
about.
that's fair. But like, I like to know ice times and stuff like that. Like, I don't understand what that would be all about.
I understand. I mean, again, younger generation. I also grew up in the age of when you looked up like say if you went to like the Continental Airlines arena, you had to look up the scoreboard and look at the numbers, like the actual like physical little bulb numbers. To see who was on the ice at the time. There was no LEDs. There was no, you know, who's on the ice for this long, who's skating none of that stuff.
No.
Which I feel like it's a great addition. Like this next gen stats are great to the sport. It makes it a lot interesting. But again, if they're just doing that for people that want to bet, I mean, I feel again, as long as like I said, and you're telling me this that as long as you're watching it and you don't need all that shit on your screen, then great.
Yeah.
At least they have an alternate that if somebody wants to go and do that kind of shit, go for it. Watch your little stat lines and all that. But for pure people like yourself and all my Rangers fans out there, you just want to watch the game. You don't care about that shit.
No.
You
That's
got
why,
yourself a nice
as
clear.
much as I miss the MSG broadcast, I don't miss all the commercials being about their sports betting shows.
Yeah, that is true. Oh.
So,
And everyone's little favorite fat guy.
Yeah.
Who pops up. Everyone, I love the way that everyone roasts him. They fucking hate him. Oh my god. Everyone hates that guy. Holy shit.
Well, gang,
Anyway, no hate. We're only loving.
Yep.
And we're signing off, baby.
Yep, gang. If there's one thing we hate is to leave you guys for the end of an episode, but we gotta wrap it up here. We love y'all. We will catch you next week with more updates on everything going on around the playoffs. We love yous. Have a good one. Peace.
Yep. Peace.